Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and welcome back to Who'd Win and Why. And this time we got Master Splinter facing off against Master Shifu. Now, before I start with this episode, there is one thing that I want to say. If you guys have been following my channel closely, then please stay to the end of the video, because there is something important that I want to say about the next episode, which is the Season 7 finale, Century vs. Superman. So, if you want to know more about that and, something important I have to say about that, stick around to the end of the video to hear what I have to say. But, I'll just leave that for the end of the video. For right now, let's just focus on this matchup. So, who'd win and why? Let's find out. So first I'm going to talk about Master Splinter. Now obviously Master Splinter is from the Ninja Turtles franchise, TMNT, and he is the master that raised the Turtles and turned the Turtles into what they are, the expert ninjas that they are today. So when it comes to his strength, speed, and endurance, and pretty much all of his physical stats, he's not too well known for all of them. I mean, obviously we have seen him having a considerable amount of speed and agility, and he can use that in his battles, because obviously he's a ninja. He'd have to be pretty agile. But when it comes to his strength and endurance, we haven't seen him use anything so far out there, so extremely powerful. If I had to put him at some sort of level of strength, I'd say he's probably about peak physical condition, from what a regular person would be, because even in his old age, he is still able to fight grown men to a standstill, maybe even a bit past that, but I definitely wouldn't put him as anything like super soldier level or anything like that. But he does have a considerable amount of strength. Definitely he can rely on his strength as long as he's not fighting someone so ridiculously strong. And again, he is able to fight characters like other ninjas like Shredder and still get back up. And so, his endurance level has to be relatively high as well. So yeah, when it comes to his physical stats, generally I believe he focuses more on speed and agility, being a ninja, but he still has some degree of strength and endurance. When it comes to his fighting style, again, this is what he's most known for. He's a master of ninjutsu, and he's been able to teach ninjutsu very well to Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, and Michelangelo. He has also shown to them, however, that he does know more martial arts than just the one. So if he does need to switch up his martial arts for whatever reason, if this situation ever occurs, he definitely can. Obviously, ninjutsu is the one that he knows most often, the one that he uses most often. It's probably the one he's most proficient with. It's the one he probably most studied. But if he does need to switch up his martial arts for whatever reason, he definitely can. Splinter also carries around his cane. It's not just a walking cane. He can also use it, as a weapon if he wants to, though he is just as deadly without it as he is with it. I get that sometimes he does carry around some other stuff, like a sword sometimes, but I'm trying to use the ones that he carries around most often, because, in a one-on-one encounter, that's what he would be carrying, probably not some sort of sword. But yeah, that's what he would be carrying around most often. He doesn't always use this in battle. Sometimes he just, tosses it to the side and just goes in empty-handed, which is cool as well. But he does have the cane. That's what he carries around most often. That's the weapon that he generally carries. When it comes to his intelligence, now, he actually does have a high level of intellect, and he is a master strategist and tactician, which he's shown multiple times, when he's fighting other characters, other, villains. Well, not other villains, when he's fighting villains, and it's probably where Leonardo got his master strategy from, because he's a master strategist as well. Obviously, he had more than one trainer. I believe he's the only one of the Turtles that's been taught under two people, but that's besides the point. And he's also Splinter is also a master of meditation and a master of stealth, which fits in quite nicely with his fighting style. So there's that. When it comes to his his experience, obviously he's fought a wide array of characters. He's fought the Ninja Turtles, I believe, all at once during training, and he's even fought the Shredder before, which is really cool, because we know how deadly the Shredder can be. I guess the main weakness that Splinter has is just that he's, it's just because his age, he's been aged up, he's obviously very old, and his skills and his strength have obviously lowered with age, but he's still extremely deadly. He can still be extremely deadly if he wants to, and like I said, he can fight grown men to a standstill. So even with his age, he's still pretty powerful. He's still, pretty tough, and, he still has a lot of endurance left inside of him. However, my point is, if he does fight an opponent that's extremely young or, extremely strong, then he might be at a disadvantage, and he might have to rely really heavily on his ninja fighting abilities. But the point is, this guy is pretty well-rounded. He does have a considerable amount of strength, speed, agility, and endurance. He's a very good fighter, knowing more than just ninjutsu. He has a high level of intellect. He's trained, all 4 Ninja Turtles. And he does have some, he does have his cane if he wants to use it as well. So this guy overall is pretty well-rounded, and is definitely not a rat that I want to face off against in a one-on-one battle to the death, I can tell you that. Alright, so now let's move on to Shifu. Now, obviously, Shifu is from the Kung Fu Panda franchise, which has 3 movies and its own TV show, Legends of Awesomeness. That's what it's called. And, obviously, he's the one that trained, the Dragon Warrior, Po, into the Dragon Warrior that he is, the fighter that he is. And everyone thought that Po was untrainable, so that speaks volumes already. So when it comes to this strength, don't be fooled that because this guy is so small, but honestly, he is a powerhouse. Like, you can tell that when he's doing his fight scenes, he uses minimal effort, but he deals, like, maximum damage. And honestly, so do a lot of other characters in the Kung Fu Panda universe. I mean, like, in, like, the Furious 5, you can tell that they're, like, dealing maximum damage, and it doesn't even look like they're throwing their punches all too hard. So this guy is ridiculously strong, like, disproportionately strong. So, yeah, like, don't be fooled that this guy's, like, so small, he is extremely strong. He's also pretty fast, and he can use his speed and agility very well in battle. In fact, there are some times where it even looks like he's popping up in places that, you just shouldn't be able to, where you least expect it. Now, whether this actually accounts to, like, his speed or not, whether I should actually put this into, like, how fast this guy really is, is up for debate, because someone might say that, oh, it's just something that the writers wanted to do, they wanted to have him do this or whatever. But regardless, whether it does count or not, this guy is still ridiculously fast and moves around very fast, and like I said, uses it very well in battle. This guy isn't really known that much for his durability, but again, he can take hits from characters like Tai Lung and get right back up, or at least for a while, so this guy must have some considerable amount of endurance inside of him as well. When it comes to his fighting ability, obviously, he knows Kung Fu. Again, I say obviously a lot. He knows Kung Fu, so that's what he knows most, and he's very good at it. He can train it to a lot of different characters, including a panda, a tiger, a viper, a monkey, so on and so forth. So yeah, he knows Kung Fu. That's basically the only martial art he knows, but dang, he can do some crazy things with it. Like I said, he can flip off the walls and stuff like that, and he can, use it very well in battle, use his agility, but he also knows some other stuff. He also knows this paralyzing technique, that he only taught Tai Lung. He didn't even teach it to the rest of the Furious 5, and we see Tai Lung use it on the Furious 5, and he has this thing called the Wuxi finger hold. I really hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, which is this weird finger hold that, if used properly, can send his opponent to the spirit realm. I believe that's what it's called. So yeah, he is pretty versatile. He doesn't really carry anything into battle. Generally, he goes in empty-handed, but he can use his Kung Fu, very well. And, he does know other stuff like inner peace and some form of chi or ki or whatever they said in the movie. But, that's pretty cool for Shifu. He's extremely strong, and he can use his abilities very well in battle. And he is also a master of meditation and maybe stealth. I'm not 100% sure about that. But anyways, yeah, this guy, when it comes to his experience, like I said, he's trained so many different characters. Like, again, not only did he train Po, who everyone thought was untrainable, but he's also trained the Furious 5 and apparently the perfect student Tai Lung, who came back, like, arguably even more powerful than Shifu, probably even. I guess the main weakness with Shifu is just that he hasn't really defeated anyone. I mean, like in the first movie, in the third act of the first movie, Tai Lung, he was putting up a really good challenge for Shifu and pretty much had him beat at the end of their battle. And one could argue that Shifu wasn't really, he was like holding back because he still had feelings for him, like as his like star pupil or whatever. But even so, if he was able to defeat him if he really wanted to, he would be able to like hold him back like enough. But we see Tai Lung, he's wrecking Shifu. So yeah, really, I guess the main weakness is that we haven't really seen, and he hasn't really done anything beyond that, he was more so in the background for the second 2 movies. So yeah, he hasn't really done that much overall, but still, he is very powerful, and if he really wants to kill somebody, he can. I mean, he can paralyze you whenever he wants, and he's extremely strong, and it might be possible we haven't really seen his full potential yet. I mean, he's trained the Dragon Warrior and the Furious 5, and when they work together, we can see how powerful Tigress is. And we can see how powerful all of them are. And, he knows a ton of techniques, and he's very proficient with the Kung Fu that he knows. He's been studying it for a very long time. And remember, he was trained by Oogway, and Oogway is ridiculously powerful. So yeah, again, he's very well-rounded. He's extremely strong and fast, and he uses his endurance, obviously, he takes a beating from other characters, and he uses his Kung Fu to the max. So yeah, he's definitely a rodent that you do not want to face in a battle to the death. Alright, so now it's time for me to compare these two characters. Now, on face value, it might be kind of hard to decide who would win in a fight between these two, because both of these characters, they mainly know one martial art each, like ninjutsu versus kung fu, and then, each of them, they've taught other characters, and they're extremely good fighters. However, when you really look at what these characters can do, I find it pretty clear that Shifu would win this fight. If you personally believe that Splinter would win this fight, that's perfectly fine. You can tell me why in the comments below. I'm always willing to hear your thoughts and what you guys think, but I personally believe that Shifu would win, and here's why. First of all, when comparing the physical stats, I feel that it's a pretty clear difference, because as I've said, Splinter is fairly strong, but he's not really up to the level of someone as over the top as Shifu. As I've said, Shifu is able to knock people down, use his kung fu techniques extremely well, and he's extremely strong using them, Like Splinter, honestly, his strength is more realistic, more of what you would find from, an overgrown rat. But with Shifu, his strength and, his speed, which I'll get into later, but what he's doing is just ridiculous. Remember, he's able to fight Po, and, I know that Po wasn't really, when he was fighting Po wasn't really all that well trained, but remember, Po is huge, and, just being able to, even, flip him around or do anything like that is ridiculous. And again, being able to take on Tai Lung, who's much bigger than him, that's also ridiculous. Being that strong is so ridiculous for someone as small as Shifu. And when it comes to speed, again, obviously this one's probably a bit closer because Splinter, he's not that slow. Obviously Splinter is pretty fast, and we do see him, using his agility in battle. But again, what Shifu is doing is just ridiculous. He's able to flip off the wall, and he's able to move ridiculously fast. As I've said before, he's able to appear in places with the snap of his fingers, just in the blink of an eye, which again is ridiculous. And again, someone might say you shouldn't really count that, but he still did it, so I don't really want to know what to say there. But the point is, it just looks like what Shifu's doing is just well more over the top than what Splinter's doing, and this goes for the fighting style as well. Obviously, some of you may already be saying, oh, well, Splinter knows more fighting styles than Shifu does, which is true. I do personally believe that, as we know, Splinter does know more fighting styles, more than just the one ninjutsu fighting style, and we know that Shifu probably only knows kung fu. However, just what he's doing and how he's using it, with his strength and speed, just seems more over the top. It's more ridiculous. He's fighting characters that are multiple times his size, and he's still putting up a great challenge for them. And we have Splinter, who's honestly, this realistic might not be the right word, because he's still just a giant rat who's teaching ninjutsu and using it very well, so realism might not be the right word, but it's more realistic than what Shifu's doing. Again, Shifu's so over the top, and Splinter is just more realistic. He's using ninjutsu in a regular way that a regular person would. And honestly, the things that Shifu's doing with kung fu, a regular person can't do what Shifu's doing just by learning kung fu. They just can't. So yeah, when it comes to the physical stats, even endurance, when it comes to durability, both of them seem to be about even. It's hard for me to scale these two characters when it comes to durability, but when it comes to endurance, again, Shifu's able to take punishment from Tai Lung and get up at least for a while. And when Splinter is able to be defeated by Shredder, who's honestly just a regular person in a suit. And, definitely not up to the level of someone like Tai Lung, who's, so over the top. So I know I use the words over the top a lot, but honestly, it is true. What Shifu's doing, when it comes to strength, speed, and fighting, just seems to outclass what Splinter's doing. It's just Splinter's is just more realistic, and Shifu's is just not. It's just so out there. It's so over the top. But that's just for those things. When it comes to other things like versatility, on face value, it might look like Splinter has the edge just because he knows more fighting styles, and, he has his cane, whereas Shifu goes in empty-handed most of the time. However, the things that Shifu can do with his kung fu, with his fighting style, is honestly just ridiculous. Like I said, he knows this paralyzing technique that he only taught Tai Lung, and we've seen Tai Lung use it on the Furious 5. And if you guys don't remember remember what I'm talking about, it's like when they all confront Tai Lung kicks all of their asses, and then he like paralyzes all of them. And you know what Shifu has to do in order to get them out of that is like use like 3 or 4 different pressure points in order for them to like be able to move again. So as soon as Shifu uses that on Splinter, you know, it's almost like game over. He's able to just use that right then and there, and then it's like something that, you know, maybe Splinter does have some knowledge of pressure points. In fact, he most definitely does, but not to the level that, you know, Shifu does, you know, being able to just paralyze them and having them completely frozen until someone literally has to use pressure points in order to allow them to move again. Like, again, it's just ridiculous. And you know, he also has the Wuxi finger hold, which is something that obviously Splinter doesn't know how to do, and that's almost a point in itself. I mean, in all honesty, the Wuxi finger hold is like an instant kill. And some of you may be thinking, well, is banishing someone to the spirit realm really killing them, or is that more like banishment? Well, ignoring the fact that I don't really think that Splinter would be able to get out of that, you know, and he'd probably die there anyway, even if he were to include that as banishment, you know, just ignoring that for a second, I do personally believe that the Wuxi finger hold does mean death, and here's why. So, in the beginning of the 3rd Kung Fu Panda movie, we've seen that the villain, you know, Kai, is fighting Oogway, and obviously, you know, Oogway's there. He's fighting Kai. Now, how did Oogway get there? Was it by someone using the Wuxi finger hold on him? No, it was literally by him dying. He says in the middle of the first Kung Fu Panda movie, you know, my time has come. And he's not being banished, you know, he's literally dying. Which just confirms that this place that they are, like the spirit realm, is the Kung Fu Panda interpretation of heaven or hell, whichever one you want to go with. So yes, I believe that the Wuxi finger hold does in fact mean death. And all Shifu needs is one good opening. He can just use it on him, and then yeah, he's, like, Splinter's, like, it's an instant kill, he's dead. And one person might think, well, why hasn't he used it that much before? Well, first of all, he wouldn't really want to use it on Tai Lung again, because, you know, he's like, you know, what am I saying? Because, you know, he still has feelings for him. He was his Tai Lung was his star student, and he doesn't want to kill him, he just wants to stop him. You know, he still cares for him, at least to some degree. And, you know, he hasn't really fought many other people besides that. And someone could say, yes, you know, we haven't really seen Shifu use it at all, but it is heavily implied that he can. I mean, when he's about to use it on Po, or about to use it on Po at the beginning, you know, Po is, like, freaking out. And remember, this guy knows a lot about Kung Fu. Like, he's looking around, like, the Jade Palace, and he's saying, like, oh my god, that's the blah blah, or that's the blah blah blah. You know, he knows a lot about this stuff. He's a big fan of Shifu and, like, the Furious Five. So he probably knows that Shifu can do it. You know, why else would he be freaking out about it? So yeah, definitely Shifu, and you know, Tai Lung was also saying, you know, like, Shifu never taught you this, which means Shifu could have taught him that. So yeah, basically what I'm saying, so overall, yes, Splinter is a very good fighter, definitely. I'm not trying to say he's not. He knows multiple martial arts, and he does have a considerable amount of strength and speed. However, the main difference between these two characters is that, you know, Splinter is, like, teaching ninjutsu. He knows ninjutsu, and he uses it much more realistically. Like, he's using ninjutsu like a regular person would be able to, at least for the most part. You know, it's more realistic. However, what Shifu's able to do is way out there. You know, it's honestly ridiculous. He's able to use like an unmatched degree of strength, speed, and endurance, and you know, he's able to like paralyze someone, you know, which again, like, being able to freeze someone just like in place is not something someone should be able to do with Kung Fu. And you know, the Wuxi finger hold, sending someone to the spirit realm, you know, that's like complete fiction. And that's the main difference between these two, in all honesty. Shifu is just so over the top. All the characters in the Kung Fu Panda world are so over the top, able to do these supernatural things that someone who learns Kung Fu would not be able to do. And Splinter's just not the same thing, you know. All the Ninja Turtles, they're more or less doing what a regular person would be able to do learning ninjutsu. I know obviously they're turtles, and they're doing some crazy things, you know, some things that probably some people would not be able to do if they learn ninjutsu, but like I said, the stuff that the Kung Fu Panda people are doing is just ridiculous. And again, the Wuxi finger hold, you know, instant kill, you know, it's just not something that Splinter would be able to get out of. So, in my opinion, the winner is Shifu. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I know I enjoyed this one. If you personally believe that Splinter would win this fight, then please tell me in the comments below, because I want to know what you guys think. How do you think Splinter would win? Why do you think Splinter would win? You know, tell me in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give this video a like. Comment down below what you thought of it, and, you know, who you think would win and why. You know, tell me why. And if you could subscribe to my channel, guys, that'd be so great. That would really help my channel out. I make these videos as often as I possibly can, and, you know, especially since it's summer, hopefully I'll be able to do it more often. Season 7 is coming to an end pretty soon, and this leads me into what I wanted to talk to you guys about with Sentry vs. Superman. So some of you guys might be a bit, you know, surprised that this video came out on Saturday as opposed to Sunday, when I generally try to do these videos. Or at least now, I'm generally trying to do these videos on Sunday. Well, the reason for that is because tomorrow, you know, like Sunday, I am leaving for vacation. So I'm going to be gone on vacation for a whole week, and yeah, I'm not sure if I would have been able to post this on, I'm not sure if I would have been able to post this on Sunday. Because here's the thing, last time when I went on vacation in March, I had no idea if I was going to have Wi-Fi, and I ended up not having Wi-Fi, so I wasn't able to do anything over vacation. You know, I wasn't able to post any videos, and I thought, you know, filming it there, I was already doing stuff. I didn't really want to, like, take time out of my schedule to, you know, film it, and I wasn't even going to post it until I got back, so I didn't really see the point in that. But anyway, so what's going on with me now is that, you know, with Sentry vs. Superman, I am going to try my very best to film that video over vacation. You know, for the series, not for the series finale, for the season 7 finale, I'm going to try to see if I can do that, you know, film it over vacation and maybe post it over vacation. If I can't do that, however, if I, like, don't have Wi-Fi or there's, like, literally no time for me to do it, then I'll film it and I'll post it as soon as I can when I get back from vacation. So what I'm essentially trying to say is that I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it on vacation. Hopefully I will be able to. If not, then I'll get to it as soon as I can. But if it does come out late, because, you know, I'm going to be gone for a whole week, then, you know, that's the reason why. But anyway, so yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Your view is plenty of contribution. It really means so much to me. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I know that I did. You know, it's a pretty different episode, you know, Shifu versus Splinter. And, you know, these two characters are pretty similar. You know, they both train animals. They are both, you know, fighting animals. You know, they each know mainly one martial art. I say mainly because, you know, Splinter. And yeah, so these two characters are pretty similar, and I had a really fun time doing this fight, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So thank you guys so much for watching. It really means so much to me. You guys seriously have no idea how much it means that you guys watch my stuff. And as I said, next time on Who Would Win Why, the season 7 finale, Sentry vs. Superman, I'm really excited for it. I hope you guys are excited for it as well. And I will see all of you in the next video. See you all later, and have a good night.